Let's consider the board of directors and management as similar stakeholders. So we'll look at them and say, look, they're pretty similar with what they want. Okay, so we're looking at all the stakeholders of a business and we're doing these two here at once. So just to go back a step, how are companies owned and managed? We looked at this in an earlier topic, but let's say you want to buy shares in BHP. That would make you a shareholder. You think it's going to make money in the future, you want to share in that. That makes you an owner or a shareholder. And there's a mine in WA digging up gold. So the first question we want to ask is, who's going to dig up all that gold? Are you going to do it? Just because you own the business doesn't mean you get to work there. You're not an employee of BHP. It has employees who do that for you. Okay? However, when you think about it, when you buy shares in BHP, you don't know anything about gold mining. What do you know about it? They're doing it well, they're doing it badly, is it safe? Could it be improved? So what you need to do is you need to appoint someone to oversee the company for you. So what you do is you appoint the board of directors. Now the board of directors can be 6, 10, 12, maybe a few more people, and they meet once a month to decide what the strategy of the entire company should be. So they actually don't work at the mine either. They just meet in an office, okay, let's say in the centre of Melbourne. They meet in an office once a month to decide, do we even want to be digging up gold? Maybe we should be looking at, say, renewable energy or something like that, right? And the other thing is they don't work at the mine every day because they're, let's say, over all the way in Melbourne. They don't know how the mine's being run. So they need someone that they can appoint to manage and oversee the employees, and that's what we call management. They're the ones that will manage the mine. And in business, when we say management, you're going to see titles like Chief Executive Officer, CEO, Chief Financial Officer, CFO, Chief Operations Officer, COO, Head of Marketing, that sort of thing. That's what we call management. Management oversees employees. So we can divide these sort of into two groups and say the shareholders and the board don't work at the company every day, but the management and the employees do. Okay, so it's a lot going on here. It's very confusing. Let's just summarize in a diagram. You're a shareholder, you buy a few shares in BHP. How do you get someone to protect your interest? You appoint the board of directors. You get to own shares in the business and you get to appoint who you want to be on the board. You get a vote for every share that you have. And the board of directors are accountable to you as a shareholder. They are there to protect your interests. However, they don't work at the business every day, so they are going to appoint some management to run the gold mine in Perth. Okay, and they are accountable to the board of directors. So they implement the board's instructions, but then who's going to dig up the actual gold? Well, that is the employees. The management appoints the employees, okay, and they are accountable to the management. So they perform the daily activities to be done. Okay, and that's kind of the way it works. It's a hierarchy, and at the top, even if you only own, say, 5 shares in BHP, you are at the top of the pyramid. Everybody else there is accountable to you. That's the way it works. So, and we said management is accountable to the board, etc. But the other thing to realize is, yeah, you do get a vote, but you mightn't get a lot of votes. Okay, but you do get, as a shareholder, to approve the pay of the directors and the senior management. You can actually, if a company's on the stock exchange, they legally have to publish what the board and the managers get paid. You can go and look that up for any business you like on the Australian Stock Exchange. And you get to do this each year at the annual general meeting or an AGM where you get to vote, I want this person on the board or I don't want that person on the board. Okay? And that's kind of how it works. So that is kind of not our topic here. Our topic is stakeholders. Stakeholders have a direct or vested interest in the business. So we need to summarize this by saying, what do the board of directors and management want from a business? They want the business to make net profits and for the share price to increase. Why? Well, they're not because they're shareholders, but they're accountable to shareholders. Shareholders will vote for someone else if the board of management can't make this happen. They also want to develop business strategies and make decisions. That's why they went into this type of work. They like to challenge themselves and come up with strategies for the future and so on. So that's an interest they have. They also want to be well remunerated or paid in directors' fees and shares and salaries and so on. They also, a lot of them, will want to work for a business that is ethical and socially responsible. And if they do work at the business, like the management does, they want to receive fair workplace conditions, good facilities, etc. So there's also some corporate social responsibility considerations here that these stakeholders might have. The board of directors and the management might want to make decisions and have an interest which obey the laws in each country the business operates in. But furthermore, they might be have a CSR consideration to be paid fairly and provided with good working conditions. Not the bare minimum, but particularly if they're management, they want to be paid, an amount that's fair and have a good workplace environment. But also, a lot of board of directors and management, they don't want to be a part of a business that isn't socially responsible. So they want to make decisions that benefit the business, but which are also ethical and socially responsible. And if the business doesn't do that, well, you might get board of directors and management who decide to leave that business.